right, this is part two-ish. Not that it has to be. If you're just interested in the Iris, we'll talk about that. But I was reviewing this sort of in concert with the Pontus II from Denafrips as well. This little guy, which has a very similar chassis, if not an identical chassis, to the Iris 2, is a digital to digital converter instead of a digital to analog converter that we're used to, like a DAC. This D2D, its job is basically to take USB and clean it up and output a very nice clean digital signal to your DAC to then work with. So this is sort of the garbage in, garbage out theory. USB is relatively notorious for having a bunch of noise on it coming out of a laptop or even maybe a dedicated streamer. And the idea is you want to feed the best signal with the littlest jitter to your decoding apparatus so that it's got good stuff to work with. Sounds like a bunch of hooey magic garbage. So I had to try it. Now, I mean, I don't know, this stuff is probably just beyond my understanding of how the world works to actually be able to recognize why some of this stuff matters. But I've read the literature and I've seen some reviews of this, and people have done a good job of taking it apart and helping me feel like it's not just hooey magic enough to want to try it. So I plug this thing into my laptop via USB, and then from there out via I2S, which is an HDMI cable, but you're not really using the pins in the same way. You're not using all the pins. That's just what they chose to carry the signal. That plugs into the back of your DAC, assuming it accepts that. I mean, there's other connections. There's the HDMI style one. There's an Ethernet based one. There's just, I mean, whatever. This is, yeah, out of my head. I just stuck with this because this is what Denafrips recommends to get the best chain to the Pontus, which is what I was running it against. Does it make a difference? Yes. Is it a massive difference? No. The bass I found to be a bit deeper, a little bit more robust, a bit more impactful, which is nice because that is one of the sort of few criticisms I had of the Pontus in my very long and rambling love letter. The soundstage gets a bit wider, and I think that might be due to maybe a darker, cleaner background, that there's just the smallest amount of extra noise is gone, which then makes it feel like things are a little bit more open and there's a little more space between things. I'm just theorizing. I don't know. That's kind of what I felt like I was picking up. And then micro details and edge definition are definitely improved a little bit for me. And there's just this sort of increased energy and presence, like female vocals come a little bit forward and have just a smidge more life to them. Like I was listening to Phoebe Bridgers' Garden Song, and there's this like really bassy kick drum, and then her voice comes in, and it's just like goosebumps. So I definitely think it makes a notable difference. Significant? I don't know. I don't know if I could go that far. You know, when we're talking about something that costs as much as many DACs, more than many DACs, to add in front of your very good or very expensive DAC. Now, with the form factor, it sort of suggests, if you look at Denafrips line, they sort of have these different form factors, and they have much more expensive digital converters. And so the assumption here is maybe this is intended for the Iris 2, but at like $540 to an $850, $825 DAC. I don't know. Maybe that stack up makes sense. I don't know. I didn't get to try those two together, so I really can't comment on that performance. Paired with the Pontus, it's like in for penny, in for pound, you know? when you're talking about a nearly $1,800 DAC, adding $500 on top to get you another X% better without going up to like the Venus or the next level, which I haven't heard, so I can't tell you if that's worthwhile to do. But just looking at the dollars, I mean, this plus the Pontus is, you'd have to still pay like another 25% more to get up to the Venus, which then you still wouldn't necessarily you still might want to have a D2D in front of that to get the most out of it. So, oh God, this hobby is terrible. It's just so terrible for you. So just stop. One thing I will say in all this comparison is one of the things I threw in the mix was my original Chord Mojo as like a benchmark, and it's like that thing is so good. Like for whatever, now with the Mojo 2 out, the used market, those things are like $300 or less. It's like that's incredible value as a DAC. Forget as like a mobile, headphone amp. Like, so maybe just that's the lesson from these two videos, is save yourself tons and tons of money and just get that thing. What it doesn't do that the world of R2R does, or that this particular DACs do so well, is it has a little of that hyper-realism thing that kind of bugs me, and it doesn't have the sort of ramp and decay or the space that makes things just so beautiful. It's like a lot more fatiguing to listen to. So never mind. Don't get the Mojo. Do get the Mojo, but also get this. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. So what I have this package, the Pontus and the Iris. I think it's a pretty good package if you're like me and you like to buy stuff on the used market. This thing is maybe like $450 if you're shopping, and the Pontus is maybe like $1,400-1,500, so maybe under $2,000, $1,900. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but it is a lot of DAC. I think you're going to be spending a lot more on top of that for relatively small gains beyond that. I don't know. I haven't heard like the 10 grand DACs, but I have heard a little bit up the chain, and it does, you go off that diminishing returns cliff pretty hard. So in summary, does having a digital converter, at least this one, in front of your DAC make a difference? Yes, I think so. I think it helps the Pontus maybe live up to its full potential. Is it like a huge difference? Is it night and day? Is it going to just blow your socks off? For me, no. For somebody with more sophisticated ears, maybe so. All right, that's that. If you didn't watch the Pontus review, go back and watch that one, because I think it's interesting to think about this whole thing together. And until next time, this is Signcraft signing out. Oh, more DACs on the way.